Lesson 6.1, Adding and Subtracting Rational Numbers. Okay, the first type that we're going to work on are adding and subtracting decimals. Key thing to do is number 1, make sure you line up your decimal points, and 2, add zeros if needed. Sometimes the directions will say annex zeros, and all that means is to add zeros. So here's the first example. 42 n 678 thousandths plus 8 n 34 hundredths plus 127 and 6 tenths. Now for most of you, trying to add it up this way would be very difficult. So what you should do is line up the decimal points going down and add the numbers that way. So you can leave the 42 right where it is, and then line up 8 and 34 hundredths, and then 127 and 6 tenths. The key thing to remember and the key thing to do is to make sure that your decimal points are lined up before you attempt to add it. And now all you need to do is add going straight down. If you'd like to add zeros for the places that are blank, you may do so, but it's not necessary. Bring down the 8. 7 plus 4 is 11. Carry the 1. 6 plus 6 is 12. Plus 3 is 15. Plus 1 is 16. Carry the 1. 8 plus 2 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. Plus 7 is 18. Carry the 1. 4 plus 2 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. And then bring down the 1. Now, the only thing that's missing at this point is the decimal point. Bring your decimal point straight down so that they are in a line and there'll be no confusion as to what your answer is. So our final answer for this one is 178 and 618 thousandths. Now here are the next two examples. I'd like you to pause the video and set up each example by lining up your decimal points. Okay, so on the second one here, remember the negative sign that's here, or the subtraction sign, can be thought of as a negative. So just line up your decimal points. So we're going to put the decimal point first, and then we have 375 thousandths, and then bring down that minus sign, and then think of it as a negative. What do we do when the signs are the same? We add. So 0 plus 5 is 5, 7 plus 5 is 12, carry the 1, 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6, bring your decimal point down, and we keep the sign the same, so we bring the negative down. So our final answer is 625 thousandths. Now on number 3 rather, the number 13 does not have a decimal point. When a number does not have a decimal point, you put the decimal point behind it. So we would write it as 13 with a decimal, and we would use one place behind it. The reason we're using one place is because 8.4, or 8 and 4 tenths, has one place behind the decimal. So now line up the 8 and 4 tenths and subtract. And you're subtracting because your signs are different. Well, you can't do 0 minus 4, so you borrow from the 3, make it a 2, and the 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6, bring down your decimal point, and now it's 12 minus 8 is 4. Since 13 is higher, the answer is 4 and 6 tenths. Now, copy down these rules for adding and subtracting fractions. Remember, the first thing you need to do is find an LCD. If the denominators are the same, you don't need to do that. Step number 2 is make equivalent fractions. Step number 3, add or subtract the numerators, and then keep the denominator. And then step number 4 is simplify. Okay, so look at problem number 4. You can see that we do not have common denominators. So we need to find a common denominator for 8 and 5. For some of you, having the problem written this way will be difficult. So you might want to rearrange it and do 5/8, negative 5/8, plus 1/5 this way. Now, what is the common denominator for 8 and 5? Well, the answer is 40. So right next to it, write your equivalent fraction with the common denominator. So now figure out 8 times what is 40? The answer is 5. So negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. On the next one, 5 times 8 is 40, so 1 times 8 is 8. Now, even though this is an addition problem here, it says that it's addition, your signs are different, so follow your integer rules. What do we do when the signs are different? We subtract. So 25 minus 8 is 17. Your denominator stays the same. Is it positive or is it negative? The answer is it's negative because 25 is greater than 8. So your answer is negative 17 over 40. Now, on number 5, in order to solve it, you need to still find a common denominator before you do anything else. Take a moment and see if you can find a common denominator. The common denominator for 1/4 and 3/8 is 8. So if I rearrange the problem again, if I have 5 and 1/4 minus 2 and 3/8, our common denominator becomes an 8 here, and it stays an 8 on this one. Since it doesn't change, we can just write the fraction down just the way it is. So it's negative 2 and 3/8. Now 4 goes into 8 2 times. So 1 times 2 is 2. Now if you look at your signs, again your signs are different. We have a positive and a negative, so we subtract. But the problem is you can't do 2 minus 3. So what are we supposed to do here? We need to borrow, just like we would on another problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross out the 5, make it a 4, and how many are we going to add to the 2? The mistake most of you will make is by taking 10, but it's not 10. You're going to add 8 over 8, because remember 8 over 8 is 1. So this would be 2 plus 8. Well, 2 plus 8, if you add them together, gives you a 10. And 10 minus 3 is 7 over 8. And then 4 minus 2 is 2. Since the 4 and 10/8 is positive and it's a higher number, your answer is positive. Okay, pause the video and see if you can solve this one on your own. Okay, the common denominator for 6 and 9 is 18. So this would be 1 and something over 18 plus 4 and something over 18. Well, 6 goes into 18 3 times, so 3 times 5 is 15. 9 goes into 18 2 times, so 2 times 3 is 6. Now add going across. Add your fractions first. 15 plus 6 is 21. We leave the denominator the same, it's 18. And then we add 1 plus 4 is 5. Now the problem here is this is an improper fraction. So we're going to bring down the 5, just the way it is, the whole number 5, and then convert 21 over 18 into a mixed number. Well, 18 goes into 21 one time with 3 left over. So it's 1 and 3/18. And now if you add that together, you get 6 and 3/18. We're still not finished though, because 3/18 can be simplified. Both 3 and 18 can be divided by 3. So bring down the whole number 6. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 18 6 times. So your final answer is 6 1/6. Okay, that is the end of the video. Please take notes on anything that you did not understand. Make sure you ask questions about it in class. Have a great day.